morning, and thank you for staying tuned and listening to A Deeper You. We have one of our favorite girls with us this morning, Carrie Boan, the Brain Diva. Carrie, we welcome you back to A Deeper You.
Thank you for having me. This means a lot.
I noticed that you've been moving into an intelligent, what is it called? Emotional intelligence.
Yes.
So Carrie's going to talk to us today about emotional intelligence. Now, tell us, what is emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence is being able to master your emotions in your thoughts, your words, and your actions.
Okay.
So I I started in the brain health. Last time I was on here, we talked more about brain health. You have to have a healthy brain to be able to even process your emotional intelligence.
What would be considered a happy brain? A healthy brain.
So the temporal lobe controls emotional processes, emotions.
Mm-hmm.
The frontal lobe is the executive function part.
Okay.
So if you have any damage to the frontal lobe, the executive functioning part, and the temporal lobe, you're going to have trouble processing emotions or making good decisions.
Right.
So, you might say something a little out of the way if you have executive function issues, and you might incorrectly process somebody else's words and emotions if you have temporal lobe damage. Wow. So just because, and as a society, we can't walk around and know, okay, this person has brain damage, or so the only thing you can do is control yourself.
Okay.
Right?
Keep on.
So the emotional intelligence pertains to us, ourselves, being able to control our thoughts, our words, and our actions, and be accountable for them.
Okay, that's the key word.
Yeah, accountable. Because I can say and do and everything, but if it comes out wrong, or if I lose my cool, because the Brain Diva still lose her, we all can have our buttons pushed, but you have to be able to take accountability for what comes out of your mouth, what you think, what you say, what you write, what you type. So you can't walk around knowing that. I think that's the biggest piece that I really promote in the beginning when I speak. It's like, you can't know what everybody else's brain looks like, so you have to control your own. Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I want to note too that Carrie is one of our amazing speakers with amazing speaks.
Yes.
So, yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot of her in different places. So as you listen today, if you would want her to be a guest in your arena, then she'll give you that information. If they want to contact you, how would they contact you?
They can go to my website, thebraindiva.com, or you can email me at carrie@thebraindiva.com. But everything's on my website, so you can just Google the Brain Diva, and I'll come up. Absolutely.
Fantastic. And we're going to be doing some things together too that we're going to be bringing to the community. Let's get back into this emotional intelligence.
Yes.
When you're dealing with someone, one of the things you said I really like, you have to be responsible for what you do.
Yes.
So that means that you have to have self-mastery skills.
Yes. And you have to take the time. One of the things that I talk about is take 5 to focus.
Right.
And that's taken 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours if you have to. Whatever you have to do. And recently, I took a whole 12 to 14 hours to think about something before I addressed it, because I knew it was serious enough. I wanted to walk in and have all my words and my thoughts planned out, because it was a high emotional situation, but I got to get in there and say my piece and be able to respond appropriately, and that takes time. Your brain needs time to think and process, to create an emotionally intelligent response. And if you look at the greatest leaders of of any time, of history, they took their time when they responded. If somebody asked them a heated question, they didn't, pop off and say, took a deep breath, they took their time, they thought about it, and they responded with emotional intelligence. And that's our society. I'm going to be very bold when I say this, but a lot of our problems in society could be handled better if we each took responsibility for our emotional intelligence. Because emotional intelligence, you don't have to agree with everybody.
That's true.
You can't agree with everybody.
No.
But you have to be able to sit, face to face with somebody and say, well, I don't really agree with what you're saying,
right.
but I understand where you're coming from.
Exactly.
And I'm okay with that,
Right.
I understand that you grew up differently than I did.
Right.
You came from a different family.
Right.
Your whole background's different. And so I don't agree with you on this point of view, but I understand where you're coming from.
So
and that's cool.
there's I don't want to say what there's a compromising that you're considerate of each other's feelings.
Yes.
And even on the spiritual base,
Yes.
when we are unbalanced spiritually, I'm sure it affects our emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
Because I teach on the spiritual
Yes.
base a lot, and I'm like, how did you come up with that?
Yeah, I do, open my
Right.
Bible every morning, and I journal. It's amazing because whenever I'm worried about something or
Right.
thinking about something,
Right.
I open up and there it is,
Yes,
some
it
verse,
falls right to it, right.
falls right to it.
Mhm.
So then I write about it. I write about it in my journal.
And that's great.
And I work through it because when you see your own handwriting, your brain
Process
processes.
it. Mhm.
That's my stuff there.
Right.
And you would be amazed at the stuff that comes out on paper.
When you go back and look at it a
Yes.
week, 2 weeks later, or a year
Years later, yeah.
and you
yeah.
say, did I write that? I'm always asking Megan, did I write that?
Or I'll look at it and
Yes.
say, I remember going through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad I came out on the other side.
On the other
and
side
this
of
is
the
how. And so you grow
Yeah,
emotionally, and
exactly.
you expand your emotional intelligence that way. And yes, it's absolutely. But you have to have a spiritual. I truly believe you have to have a spiritual basis
Yeah.
because you connect with that part in your brain. If you have a spiritual part in
Yes.
your brain, that's
Right.
the temporal lobe.
Right.
So you have
Okay.
the temporal lobe is the spiritual part. And you connect with that part, and it just opens up a whole new doorway.
I want to say this. The kingdom of God is within us.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the spiritual intelligence, we're learning how to master the kingdom principles and live in a humanistic world.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
And
be
it's a
transformed
process.
by the renewing
Renewing
of your
minds.
mind. And I always say it's a daily, or
daily.
minute by minute sometimes process. It's not a one and done. Like
No,
you
exactly.
don't get saved or baptized and
Right.
I'm good.
No.
It's a daily,
No. Yeah,
it's
it
daily renewing of your mind. And in fact, I write that a lot in my blogs and when I speak, I say that. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Because when I have a bad day, or if I have, the stuff that I've been dealing with lately, I have to renew my mind throughout the day. All right, I've got to take a deep breath.
Right.
I've got to gain some perspective. The word says when we're talking about words, that you flavor the words appropriately so that you gain respect of others.
Exactly.
It says it throughout the word wants us to have emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
So it's really important to be spiritually intelligent, to have emotional intelligence. Yes,
that's
absolutely.
key. That is really a key. A lot of times when you're working with at-risk families or at-risk groups, and it's hard for a person to be balanced when they're internally upset.
Yes.
So
yes.
even in the process of emotional intelligence, we have to take that moment.
Yes.
We have to listen to hear instead of listening to respond.
Mm-hmm. And I'll take my my personal experience in the past couple weeks. I had an opportunity several times to really lose my mind, I want to say.
Right,
I really could have. But I took a step back and I got quiet and I went off by myself to the beach. And
That's a
just
really great place.
Yeah, I had to get away so that I could clear my mind and listen and just process by myself.
Exactly.
And hear the things that I needed to hear to have the courage and the clarity to move forward through everything.
It's really important because a lot of times people are caught up in the trend of their domestication. And when you're in explosive situations or irritable situations, you might be geared to respond.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you have to, like you were saying, separate yourself from that trigger, triggering that emotions. And especially if you have a spiritual background, become grounded in those things that you've learned to be true and take a step back, like to the beach.
Right.
Because the water, the serenity, the peace, the birds,
Yeah.
the quietness, It makes a difference. It gives you time to cool down.
Yeah, and just gain perspective. And allow your brain to process. Yeah, when your brain processes and works through it. And I've had, I can count four besides the big episode that I had 3 weeks ago. I had 4 other episodes, emails that were very strong in words from friends. It just, and one out in public, a woman was having a bad day and she went off. Wow. So, and I say, I'm being tested. I'm being tested, I'm being tested for how I'm going to respond. So, and I take a deep breath, take 5. That's hard.
Take 5.
That's hard, but you still got to do it. You have, it's constant work, but you have to take 5, take a deep breath.
We're going to take a break right now, then we're going to come back and we're going to refresh you on the take 5 concept. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. We're back with the Brain Diva, Carrie Boan. We want to talk a little bit about Take 5. That's how we ended off. And some of you might not remember Carrie's, but I want you to remember Carrie because the Brain Diva helps us resolve issues without having a heart attack. Okay? So let's talk about Take 5.
So Take 5 is a program that I created from my experience with a person with brain injury. And one of the things he would always say to me was, when you're talking to me, I see your mouth moving and I can't understand what you're saying anyway, so I just want you to be quiet. So, because I was overwhelming his brain, right?
Exactly.
So I started thinking about that, and it took me back to when I was in 11th grade, and my 11th grade English teacher, I kept interrupting her.
Oh, okay.
And she told me, you need to stop.
Right.
And you need to let me finish. And then you can defend yourself.
Right.
And I thought to myself, okay, well then I've probably had this habit for a long time of interrupting people. When I want to defend myself, cut people off. So what can I do to help? Well, the first thing I need to do is zip it.
Okay.
When somebody makes me upset, if I get an ugly email, text message, or somebody even says something to your face.
Yeah, that's out of line.
I mean, I had more than enough of those, and you want to pop up. 10 years ago, I would have really just went right to you.
Right.
But now that I've, and I don't seem like it now, because y'all know, but now that I've trained myself, but it's constant work, and you never master it completely. Right. It's constant work. Now I take 5 seconds, 5 minutes, sometimes 5 hours, like I've said, but it depends on the situation. If you get an email that really bothers you, you don't have to respond right away. You can give it a couple hours, think about what you want to respond, intelligently, and then send the email, type it, and send it back. If you read something in an email and that upsets you and you just start typing away, all that adrenaline, words are going to come out that you want to take back. And I know Gmail has the option now to cancel, but lots of times that email will go through.
I was going to say, you'll press before and then say, I should have done that.
Yeah, and then you go back and you reread it.
And you say,
then you have to go apologize. All right, so that just save it. And just take a deep breath, because that brings oxygen to the frontal lobe, the executive function. And think about, okay, what is really being said here? Because that's another thing. When I get emails from, clients, friends, whoever, I interpret it one way, but maybe they're trying to say it a different way. They intend something differently.
Exactly.
So make sure you understand. Give yourself 5 seconds or 5 minutes to make sure you understand what that person is saying.
Because once a mood is developed, it triggers you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Once that trigger is on, depending on where you're at, it can be explosive.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the situation you was telling us about.
Yeah, the past couple weeks I've had my own challenges. And like I say, I truly believe these challenges are putting my own programs to the test, so I have testimony.
Wow.
So I have examples. And so I understand that I need to practice what I preach, like all the time, not just intermittently. So recently I was driving in traffic and there was a green light and person didn't go. There was a long line behind us, so I tooted. They didn't move, tooted again, so I go around them, and they got very, very upset to the point where they followed me. and pulled in behind me and blocked my car.
That's dangerous all by itself.
Yeah. And so when I did get out of my vehicle, didn't know if it was a man or a woman, you know, but got out of my vehicle, and it was daylight and there were people around, but the person got very, very upset in my face, and because they were having a bad day. And immediately, 10 years ago, I would have started screaming back. I would have, I would have started defending myself, or, how dare you. I was in a different brain back then. I was in a different mind.
Right. Exactly.
So now I listened to what the person was saying, and they were having a very, very emotional conversation on the phone while they were in traffic. And then, so when they realized they weren't paying attention, and then I went to go around them, that just infuriated them.
Yeah. Trigger.
So this person's screaming in my face. I was like, all right, you better breathe. Breathe.
Take 5, girl.
So I breathe. I was breathing. I listened. And it was so interesting because that person told me a lot, in that when they were screaming, and I was like, this is why they were upset.
Right.
I said, well, probably you should have pulled over, to talk so you could give that person on the phone your undivided attention. Well, I didn't have, and they were screaming back, and okay, I said, well, maybe next time pull over so you can have that conversation, and pay attention to both things. You can't pay attention to both things. When they walked away, I said, have a good, I hope your evening gets better, or something like that. And
but it would have, the person never realized that, number one, you shouldn't have been speaking on the phone driving.
Yeah.
$400 ticket now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're placing everyone else in danger.
Yeah. Yes.
But the situation that was behind it, you could kind of understand why she felt she needed to reach out, but that was the wrong time.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your side and her side, and both sides can be triggered.
Oh yeah.
Because she's holding up traffic.
Yeah.
But she's in trauma.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be in trauma on driving like that.
Right.
So
it was tough, and when I look back on it, because of course I was reviewing myself after that. I'm like, okay, what else could I have done? What I didn't know why she wasn't like I said, I didn't know she was sick in the car, so I was going around, and but anyway, just looking back, I was like, okay, that's a lesson that I need to learn from her, lessons from her. What could I have said anything? Could I have done anything differently?
That falls into emotional intelligence.
Right. Like what was I calm enough? Did she understand that I actually did care about her situation,
That's the person you are.
So I was grateful it happened. Was it scary? Yes. Was it a learning experience? Yes. And every experience I've had in the past couple of weeks has been a learning experience. But that's, to me, emotional intelligence. I feel like we could change, we could change violence, we could change abuse, we could change bullying, we could change so many things if we all worked on our own emotional intelligence. And, because when I look back on it, if I were a different person that jumped out of that car, and that person, that could have gotten really ugly, really violent.
Yeah.
If it were two different people or a different person other than me jumping out of the car, it could have gotten bad.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's a situation, and some people, and I do want to say this, some people might see emotional intelligence as being a doormat, or maybe you're being easy on people. No, you're displaying your control. You're displaying your control over yourself. And if you view it as weakness, then you're going to be one that snaps back and offends people and steps on toes.
And then there's something wrong with your self-esteem if you review it as weakness.
Yes.
Especially those that have spiritual base. Said the kingdom of God is within you. So we have the power in that kingdom to make intelligent decisions.
Right.
We really have power over our body, how it regulates. You see people that get so excited, so upset that they have a heart attack.
Yes.
Okay, that wasn't wise. So we have to learn how to hear the spirit, hear the spirits, because there were spirits moved around, and then monitor our own.
That's right.
Monitor our own spirit.
I actually had what I felt like, or would classify as anxiety,
right.
on Tuesday. And I felt it.
Right.
And I don't take medicine, for it. I haven't been diagnosed, but I was thinking about everything that was going on in my life, and I started feeling my heart rate go up a little bit. But because I'm so aware, I prayed, I took some deep breaths. I was like, all right, let's gain some perspective here and think about what's actually going on. Okay, and what's good about it? What's good about things? And I was able to, and that's not always possible, but when you start working on yourself,
that's key. And a lot of times people don't like working on themselves. This is a break point right now, so give you a chance to think on what you're thinking about, and we'll be back in a minute. And we're back with Carrie Boan, who is our Brain Diva. Carrie, before we start, give them your website.
My website is thebraindiva.com, thebraindiva.com, and go there. You can fill out the contact form. You can see where I'll be speaking next. I actually do have a lot of speaking engagements lined up.
Yes.
From May, June, September, October.
Great.
Yes, I'm excited.
Trina and I are really, really proud of you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing speaks. Don't forget.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's been a help. For sure. So yes, go to thebraindiva.com. You can see where I'm speaking, and if you want me to speak, come speak. Emotional intelligence and brain health. But I'm focused on emotional intelligence now, and brain health rolls into it.
That.
But yes, I'm doing a lot of corporate speaking. So.
That's a blessing.
Yes,
that's a blessing.
I love it.
Plus, it encourages you, and we're going to have Trina and I are going to be bringing to this A Deeper You format the amazing speakers. And you're going to have a chance to listen to them and tell us who is the best speaker.
Ooh!
Yeah, we're planning something really great with that, so
cool.
it's going to be really fun. And of course, Carrie will be one of our speakers because we've already noted her as one of our top speakers.
I love it.
We're going back to the emotional intelligence. Now, we were talking about the importance of not suppressing.
Right.
So let's pick up there.
I think people, when they hear emotional intelligence, they feel like that means you suppress your anger and your sadness and your stress and everything. And that is totally not true. You master your emotions. So you acknowledge them.
Right.
And like I was telling her on the break, when I need to cry, I cry, and then I work through it.
Right.
Or when I am angry, because I do get upset or angry at things.
All of us do.
You acknowledge it. Okay, this is gain some perspective. And work through it. So you don't suppress your emotions. That's not emotional intelligence. You acknowledge them and you learn strategies to work through them. And that's really what I teach when I coach and I speak, and I give you strategies to help you work. And it's
the process through it.
Yeah.
I teach a class on self-mastery.
Yeah.
And especially I teach a lot of evangelists and prophets. So a prophet that cannot control their internal spirit beyond the Spirit of God is a bad prophet.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to have.
So you have to have discipline. So if a prophet is talking to someone and they particularly don't care for that person personally, has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
So the emotional intelligence, the spiritual part of them will take over, and they will release in the system, or when I say in the system, they'll release in the spirit that God is giving them to give that information to that person. Has nothing to do whether they like that person or not.
Wow.
Because you're on a mission.
Right.
So, but if you're giving a word, and God gives you a word to give someone, and you say, I don't like them. That's not intelligent. Number one, you disobey God.
Right.
That's a crazy thing. And you're his prophet. So that's really another crazy thing.
You just have to do it. You follow.
It has to flow through.
Yeah.
Even with your situation where you were talking with the lady, that could have been explosive. Because someone could have been intimidated that she jumps out the car, follow you, number one.
Yeah.
That could be. And then someone said, I would just pull out a gun, shoot her tires so she couldn't follow me. Right? No, wrong spirit. But you handled it. And you spoke to her with a calmness.
Yeah, and I'm sure maybe I'll see her again. I don't know, but I would like to get her perspective. Like, did she think I was just being smug standing there? Because that passed through. Maybe she thinks I was just being smug or I don't know, pretentious or something. Right. But I was just standing there letting her honestly vent,
Right.
because that's what was that's what was coming out.
And another thing, you was being sensitive too, because I know you have a strong spiritual background. You were being sensitive because you realized that she had a sick daughter, but she was attending to her sick daughter at an inappropriate time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we don't key into people, or we don't key into their needs, emotional intelligence will fail us.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because it's all about us.
Yeah.
So even in the emotional intelligence, we have to be sensitive to the whole scheme of the environment that
Right,
we're
right. You have to understand where somebody else is
coming from.
and that's so hard because you want to be right, and you want to be
justified.
Yes, absolutely. me. You know,
Yeah.
I want to, and that's not the way it
No.
works. That's honestly not the way. And I taught that myself. All the stuff that I teach and speak on and
Right.
everything are the hard lessons that I taught myself, and then put neuroscience into it. You know,
Exactly.
I kind of pushed it together and came up with those strategies because I had used them on myself. And so
that's the best how I learn. That's the
Yeah.
best. I'll be I'll
Yeah.
take my own lessons.
Mhm.
And see, can I digest them well?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sometimes I have to count. Remember, don't explode.
Yeah, well, and breathe.
Take a deep breath.
Because when we get upset, and we, like the other week and everything, breathe, because
Right.
then you can make better decisions with your executive functioning
Functions.
lobe. I mean, when there's no oxygen and
I
blood
was getting ready to say
flow,
the oxygen is important.
then it's just cut off, and you lose your cool.
Right. You're feeling closed in, and you're feeling danger.
Yeah.
So you respond you
Fight or
respond
flight.
that way. So, I can't stand it. We're at the end of the session.
I know.
But we'll come back. We're coming back. Remember, Amazing Speaker's going to come back, and Amazing Speaks is going to bring some of the amazing speakers, such as Carrie, and we're going to give you the opportunity to send in your review on them. So, Carrie, we love
that sounds
you.
like fun.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. We love you. If you have any ideas, if you would like to be on the show, all the information will be at the end. Please stay tuned with us. And Carrie, we thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We
Dr.
appreciate
Castle.
you
I appreciate
every
it.
time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll let you know upcoming engagements for Carrie. Carrie, real quick, give him your email or your website.
Carrie at thebraindiva.com, CARRIE at thebraindiva.com, or the website, thebraindiva.com.
Okay. And until next week, search for a deeper you.